Okay, hey guys. So I thought I would do a video on one of the buzz things that are going around on the internet now about removing your soul contracts. Can you really remove soul contracts? I don't know. Well, let's talk about it. So there's two schools of thought here, right? A contract here in the third dimensional reality, you sign a contract in exchange for something, some agreement that is made. Now, just because you go home, let's say you purchase a car, you sign a contract, you get the car, you go home, and that's the deal. Just because you go home and think, I don't know, maybe I really don't want this contract. Maybe I'm gonna cancel this contract. Well, you understand there's more to it than just you saying, I'm done, I'm not gonna pay on this. There's a binding contract, and so there's legal steps that take place in third density. So part of me thinks maybe the same applies in higher states. There is an energy exchange, there's an agreement that is made, and just because we get here and realize, oh shit, I made a soul contract, doesn't necessarily mean you get out of what you agreed to do in order to incarnate in the first place. Now, that being said, on the same note, we are children of light. We are bound in a human form, but we are children of light. We are sovereign beings, creators. So once you become aware of that, maybe that's the loophole. Maybe once you become aware of the fact that you can cancel your contracts, then you can. But until you become aware that you can, until you become aware of what you really are and the power that you hold, you can do nothing for it. I have been led myself, and I've shared with lots of my students, that it is a good idea to cancel contracts. Now, I'm gonna say though, I don't really know, honestly, I don't think anybody really does, if that genuinely means all contracts are off. But what I do know is that when you state a revocation of all of your contracts, you are in a place of power. You are empowered. And from that place, that is where you can really do magic. So I'm going to share with you, I'm going to read it because it is quite a bit. I'm going to read with you what I was inspired to create as a revocation. And I will post it down below this video so that you can copy and paste it to your own Word document or what have you and share. And also edit if you feel there needs to be something put in or removed as you feel so called to do. So here it goes. Ready? So revocation of all. This is what I tell my students to say out loud. It doesn't have to be necessarily yelled from the hilltops, although if it suits you, but so much as standing in a private place and just stating this out loud. Here we go. I stand in the power of my source self-sovereignty and hereby cancel all contracts, past, present, and future, all death contracts, past, present, and future, and any other agreement or vow ever made by me to any and all sentient beings and artificial intelligences since my creation, whether made consciously or subconsciously, pre-incarnation or post-incarnation, in ignorance or in truth, in this timeline or any other timeline, density, level, dimension, realm, reality, subfractalized self or avatar. I also hereby revoke all agreements with any sentient being or artificial intelligence, regardless of affiliation, which means regardless if they're good or bad, that does not have my best interest in mind. And I will no longer, in this incarnation or any other, communicate with or channel sentient beings and artificial intelligences who are not acting in my best interest and who have not gained permission from my highest source self to communicate with me. Furthermore, I revoke all agreements ever made, consciously or subconsciously, that gives any other sentient being or artificial intelligence authority over me. Only I govern me. I also revoke all agreements to experience my reality in polarized terms, including hardship, limitation, unhealthy relationships, illness, financial concerns, family dysfunction, and anything else that is energy draining and leaves me in any way helpless. I declare all of these agreements, vows, and contracts, and any others under terms not previously mentioned, null and void, and command their destruction, as well as the destruction of all reinstatement clauses, copies, mirrors, duplicates, and backups. I hereby request and command all of my energies, essences, and soul fragments that have ever gone into these agreements, vows, and contracts to be returned back to me, reintegrating them into my heart center so that I may have access to all previously lost energies and wisdoms. These revocation intentions apply to the personality self that I identify with, as well as all other aspects, bodies, avatars, and other fractalized selves ever in existence, past, present, and future in this timeline or any other timeline, density, level, dimension, realm, and reality. I hereby call forth my highest benevolent source self to consciously guide me where and how I can either be of benefit to or benefit from, and request assistance in transcending all control paradigms. Let the loving power of my most benevolent source self dissolve any remaining constructs related to those old imposed agreements. I will this so, and so it is. And that's it. Yes, it is a mouthful. It took me several days working with this through meditations as ways to phrase things, because it does definitely sound like lawyer jargon, right? Now, like I said, in the end, it may be where you state this from. Are you stating this from a third density, small personality self who is unsure of themselves and not really quite solid on their footing? Or are you stating this from the empowered, sovereign being that you are? And maybe, again, that's where the revocation holds, is when you are standing in your power. Now, that being said, I have gotten that this is not a one and done thing. The idea of this is to restate this frequently. Now, maybe not every day, unless you're called to, but maybe on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, because we really don't know what subconscious agreements or even conscious agreements we set up. And it's a good idea to keep your space clear, especially the part about channeling. We are all channeling, regardless if you're conscious or not. We are all under influences from interdimensional beings, different mind thoughts, different ideas. And so when we try to close the gap, narrow that gap down to where we're only tuning into the frequencies that are in alignment with our highest self and that can be beneficial to us, then it takes out a lot of noise. And that is one thing that some of my advanced students have noticed, is that after they had stated this, they felt it quieter. And they weren't used to that at first, because they were used to getting all kinds of information. All of a sudden it was quiet. That's because most likely they weeded out all this other noise that was just there giving you information, but not necessarily for your best interest. And that's really what we want to focus on. So I hope that has been a help. For what it's worth, take it or leave it. It's totally your call. It's totally your reality. If you like this video and feel that it might be helpful to someone else, feel free to like it and share it. And if you are so inspired, check out my books on Amazon. And in the meantime, guys, good luck on your journey. Namaste.